What's up? Welcome back to the podcast, the Security Clearance Podcast. Terrible name, but create a different channel. It involves my full name. I don't know if I want to do that. Trying to figure out what to call this thing. Those of you that subscribed, thank you. Don't know how you found out about it, but thanks. I guess to give you a taste of what this is, it's just me ranting. Had a guy David on. I don't know if I'll run into David again. I don't know. And the plan was to interview him before he got to the Marine Corps as a corpsman, and then interview him after he's been with the Marines for a while. I don't think I'll show up at his duty station. That was the plan, but I don't think we're doing that anymore. Orders selection was today, so we'll see where I'm going April 1st. Pretty cool thing happened is I called my detailer, and she answered. Very polite and professional. Listened to what I said, and seemed to be accommodating on where I want to go, which I want to go to Camp Pendleton. I did a full podcast last night, a little drunk, full 1 hour podcast, timed it out, and then come to find out I didn't record anything. So kind of good because I was a little too drunk and said some shit probably shouldn't have. So instead of wrestle with do I want to post it, I can't because I didn't record anything. So I'm not gonna drink anymore. I want to do this in the morning one day or someday. I don't know, but maybe I'll do it with coffee. I don't think I'm gonna drink anymore. No more liquid courage for me. I am gonna check. That it's recording, and it is. So, this podcast is me ranting. I hope to interview people. I hope to answer questions for anybody that wants to join the military. I joined the military twice. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps as an infantry Marine. I did a combat deployment. I fucking got some! And then I got out and I applied for the Navy about 3.5 years out, and it took a year and a half to get in to the Navy because of what I wanted to do. I got a BUDS contract. I went to SEAL training. I was unsuccessful, and we'll see if I can go back and do that a second time. Cards are stacked against me, but that hasn't really ever stopped me before. I am now a Navy corpsman, and the cool thing about being a Navy corpsman is they get attached to Marine infantry units. They get attached to the Marine Corps, but they get attached to infantry, which what I used to be, and so I'm, fingers crossed, trying to go to Camp Pendleton where the grass exists and is greener. So, trying to go to the West Coast, California, right outside San Diego. I have some friends there. I would like to get stationed there, and I want to probably live in Texas once I retire or get out. I would like to retire from the military, though at times it seems like they don't want me because my paperwork's just all jacked. But yeah, looking to go to California. Fingers crossed this isn't my last window for orders. So hopefully I can go. I can get that within this window or the next and not have to pull my hair out with all that shit. Navy's weird. Granted, I stayed with one unit for the entire 4 years. Not the entire, I went through boot camp and training, yada yada. But when I got to my unit, I stayed there for the duration, which was, a year, 3.5 years. I did 3.5 years with the same unit in 29 Palms, which is a shithole place on earth. But if you're infantry, it's actually really good because you get to know your job and you get to get pushed pretty hard out in that desert country, and it prepares you for going to where we were going, which was Afghanistan, and then previously people were going to Iraq all the fucking time. So, really good training opportunities. You didn't have to wait around for ranges to be opened because thing about Camp Pendleton, according to my brother, is that you have to schedule your ranges far in advance, and then if it rains on you, then you missed it, and then that shit's booked up 6 months. So you gotta fucking move on. Hopefully, acquire that training somewhere else, and just hope for the best. Hope you don't get shot in the face. So, what I would like this what I would like this podcast to become is just I just want to be Joe Rogan. Doesn't everybody with a fucking podcast that's a bro just want to be Joe Rogan? The guy's a fucking, I don't really want to be Joe Rogan, but Jesus, does he have a nice life? But he built it. He worked hard. Got in when the getting was good in the beginning. Yeah, I just want to have a good enough setup, good enough equipment to sit one other person down at a time and talk to them, and it not be complete shit. This microphone's pretty good. Pretty good. This whole setup cost me like $250. I've mentioned this before. But the thing about this microphone is I can only set up one microphone like this to that phone I'm recording from. This phone, an iPhone X, I haven't seen an iPhone 11. I haven't messed with one. I've seen them. This camera on an iPhone is magnificent. It is super good. So I don't need much more than a phone. I don't need much more than a phone and some software. Even YouTube comes with an editor and free music, so you don't get sued for using, time-lapse music. It's all really cool shit. I talked about this before. YouTube's like a library. Like, my buddy's a mechanic in Florida. He has worked at Ford, Land Rover. He is currently working at Ford. He used to work at Land Rover and Porsche. And I asked him something about my car. He sent me a YouTube video. It's genius. I want to get better at this. I get on YouTube. I want to find out about a microphone. I get on YouTube. It's insane. So I want to turn this into something that's not complete shit. I want to get the lighting decently. And I saw something at the store today. It was like $75, tripod light. And it was a whole little booth that was like home podcasting. Cool. So it's a cool opportunity YouTube gives people to just create an account and start uploading videos. And I know all these podcasters, like, I know of podcasters on YouTube that are all, YouTube's, cracking down, follow me on Patreon. I'm not going to do that. I'm not paying for YouTube. I just click through the ads. It's just like old school, trying to watch some movie free on a website. You just click through the X's and hopefully you get through the movie without one popping up right in the middle of it. And you have to deal with all those pop-ups. So, yeah. I would like this to be something where people can gain knowledge about the military, make a more informed decision about the military. My brother was infantry Marine, I think 8 years before I joined. 8 years, almost to the date, I joined the Marine Corps after his service. He did 4 years. He was in Camp Pendleton. And he told me, but the thing about the military is they like to get you while you're young. It's not a bad thing at all. But the people that are more apt to jump out of planes, run into a firefight, do a bunch of crazy shit. That's why your insurance is so high when you're young. is because 18-year-olds aren't thinking with the whole part of their brain. So I didn't join at 18. I turned 21 right before I went to boot camp. I had all that in me still. I was still very hot-headed. Towards the end of the Marine Corps, I just didn't really give a shit very much. Nothing for me to do. I was just getting out, I was a corporal, and I remember someone asked me to yell at a boot, and I was like, fuck, man, boot can do what boot do. Boot's a new guy. I was like, you yell at him, I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing this shit. So, joined the Navy, doing the Navy thing, hopefully going to infantry. But if YouTube was more popular back then, and if I had the wherewithal to actually, Google that shit, so to speak, and find out more about it. But I got what I wanted out of the military the first time, and in the beginning, I got out what I wanted from the military the second time, more than what I deserved, I believe, because I made an impression on people that they opened doors for me to get to the place I was, but I wasn't successful at Buds. I failed. So I quit. So after that, a big life lesson with all that is the Navy's like, they fucking gotcha, and they're gonna do to you what they want. It's a big reprimand to quit Buds, which is insane because 80% people don't make it. I looked out. I'm a corpsman. I barely made it through corpsman school. Not grades. I aced all that shit. Not aced, but I was on the dean's list. I almost got kicked out because I butted head with the instructors. They would try and tell us some shit like, oh, yeah, it's like this. No. Try and tell us this tall tale war story. I'm like, that's not true. It's not true. Didn't happen like that. Things, you have time. You can breathe. You can relax. You don't have to stress about this shit. You're gonna learn. Not everybody's gonna depend on you at that right second. You're gonna have plenty of support. You're not everyone. I mean, it could. Everyone could die, but for the most part, you're not gonna be on the radio. You're just gonna be taking care of the dude that got shot. Happened to my staff sergeant. I saw my corpsman take care of him. He did some stuff. He did good stuff. He had a video we deleted, but saw my staff sergeant's dick. He completely, But some of it's good. I'm no pro here, right? I'm a boot corpsman. I haven't been to combat as a corpsman. And I'm sure there's, Ricky Recon, Marsoc, corpsmen out there that have seen crazy gnarly shit. We had a HM1 that just left to IDC school. He was our LPO. Got to talk to him for about an hour right before he left. Heavy turnaround at our hospital of LPOs. And he just talked about like, yeah, that shit bothers me a little bit. You try and help people out. You try and save them. Inevitably, you're not going to save, 100% and people die on you and fucks you up. But what are you going to do? You got to move on. Well, talked to my brother about that the other day. Well, coronavirus is killing people. Well, gotta go to work. Gotta move on. I'll die if I die. Gotta have faith in something. Or not. Maybe. Whatever. Okay. People don't like that. People don't like that reaction. Okay. Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna be a victim? You gonna fucking woe is me? You're just gonna take the risk as what they are and push past the hurt, the pain you have, the nervousness, whatever it is, and well, all right, gotta do it. If you find a mate in the world, you have to make a connection. You have to take the risk of talking to that person. You have to go out. You gotta walk into the recruiter's office. You gotta take that first step. Go do some recon. Go figure it out. Rant. This is what the podcast is. And then there'll be someone right there. Fucking get off subject. Trying to get comfortable on camera. It's weird. I watched the first two I did with David. I'm all twitchy and fidgety and shit. So trying to keep my hands where I can fucking see them, away from any guns, Yeah. Anyway, so just trying to be Joe Rogan in this bitch. He started off humble beginning. He was not a comedian I watched. I didn't know about Joe Rogan until way, 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 way later, until I was up in Oregon, because I thought he was a douchebag. But I was super isolated where I wound up in Oregon. Didn't know anyone, just alone in my apartment most of the day. Look forward to going to college every day because I got to interact with people. But yeah, put Joe Rogan on, smoke some weed. He would smoke weed on his podcast with like Joey Diaz. And it felt like there's two other people in the room talking. And you get to do the sports commentary. You get to, yell at it. Yell at the TV or whatever. Or just like nod your head and agree. And I would, meander around my apartment doing various projects or working on school and things like that. Take my dog out. And just had, trying to find the cool guests he had on there. I don't know if I've talked about this. One dude helped me out listening to him. Guy had Lyme disease, and his cure, this actually kind of got me back into smoking weed. His cure, his remedy for himself getting better from Lyme's disease, because what the doctors were doing with him wasn't helping, is he's like, I can't suggest this for you. So I smoke weed, I take steroids, I surf in the ocean because I find it therapeutic, and it is proven that it has healing abilities. Something with the positive ions, is good for your body, right? I was like, oh shit. And my mom didn't like it at the time because she's a mom, Christian, full-hearted, and from, the South, and not into too much. I wouldn't say she's not diverse, because she is diverse. She doesn't discriminate against people, but she's not super open-minded on, smoking weed, as minuscule as some people make it. I think it's minuscule. I think it's like the same thing as having a drink. But she wasn't about it, and there was a part of me when I was going through my issues up in Oregon that I wanted to be completely honest with people. She didn't live there, but she asked me, hey, I don't want you to smoke anymore, and I made a promise, and then eventually I started smoking, and I felt like I was lying to her. So eventually I told her, got over it. It wasn't that it was just kind of like, wish you wouldn't. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm just kind of giving you a courtesy call. I'm just letting you know I am, and sorry I broke that promise, but I smoke weed. Now, when I moved back in, and I wasn't quite trying to go back into the military yet, but I was still living at their house, and she walked into my bathroom and had a pipe there. She wasn't super stoked about it, but she didn't kick me out of the house, which was pretty cool. Um, you know, Debatable on whether you should kick someone out of the house that isn't following your rules, but that's what it is. My mom loves me. I wasn't, thrashing the house and partying and doing anything crazy like that. I was being very respectful. I was working. And, yeah, so another little rant, little ranty rant. So twice on this podcast. I think the first one I recently started to upload since I've been on quarantine from the coronavirus due to exposure. First one, I recorded like 2 hours, I think. Or I sat here and spoke for 2 hours. My phone cut out. So that was cool. And so I don't know what I've mentioned, and I don't know what I haven't mentioned. Thus is life. You repeat conversations with different people, or repeat the same conversation with the same person. You just do it. So, Yeah. My son was cranky today. My wife, bless her, wakes up with him, and I was thankfully she let me sleep. But what I was saying is twice I've recorded things that were not recorded, and then I couldn't you know upload it. So I don't know what I repeat and don't, or whatever. So yeah. So last night I think I had like, I'm not gonna lie, I think I had like 8 vodka soda waters and lime, and I'm like nursing a double right here through the hour I talk, and then I get up and my phone didn't record. I guess a dumb button did, or whatever Bert Kreischer calls it, where it's like they double hit it and then actually you're not recording. I think everybody that's messed with a video camera of any aspect has done that, but it's annoying when you're trying to put effort into this shit. So after I'm not like, I'm not in a stupor from being drunk when I was trying to record, but it wasn't the smoothest I've ever been. My game wasn't exactly sharp, and I was kind of diving into some not internal stuff, because I don't really have too much internal stuff, but I was just kind of diving into some like more angry, passionate stuff about just kind of begrudgingly like, oh, the fucking nerds, no, no, I don't do shit, stuff like that. But um, yeah, so after I get up to go press stop video and realize I haven't recorded a thing, I chug this double, um, and I do actually have that recorded. And then I think that was the last drink I had because I finished off the bottle of vodka. And boy, did that do it! And that's like 3 o'clock in the morning when I did that. And then I fell asleep on the couch and wake up at about 4 and go get in bed, and then I have some weird dreams, and my wife let me sleep till like I think about 10, and then she was just like, yo, your son is super grumpy today, I need some help. I was like, all right. So woke up, had some coffee, took care of him for a little bit, and then my out usually is like, hey, you want me to cook breakfast? And she's like, yeah. So here, take him, and then I go cook breakfast and stuff. And a lot of it's moral support, though I did take him on like a 45-minute walk today by myself. So that was good for her. And then at the end of the day, she's like, "Oh, I was gonna go work out," but good lord, she was tuckered. He was a little grumpy butt. But yeah. So I was exposed to the coronavirus while I've been doing these. Um, almost done. Today's Tuesday. I go back to work on Saturday morning. Um, haven't been on base because I'm not supposed to go outside. So, um, like at the grocery stores, there's no toilet paper or meat. Hilariously, there is your vegan fake meat, your beautiful burger, wonderful burger, whatever the impossible burger that Burger King is, I guess. It's funny. There's an officer at work, a nurse, and he's eating this burger and fries. And it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks just like meat, but you see by the wrapping that it's the Impossible Burger. And I was like, oh, Burger King makes those things so shitty, da da da. It's all the same processed shit. He's like, no, it's actually the Impossible Company. They're patties, but then everything else is Burger King. I was like, oh, okay. Ugh. And, his opinion that it's healthy, I was like, look, I didn't tell him this because try and keep it professional and polite. I don't know him very well at all, so I don't have a rapport in order to tell him what I think. Just being polite. He's an extremely fit person already. I don't know what his workout routine is. I haven't ever asked, but you can look at the dude and like sculpted dude, right? And it's not anything weird. It's just what he is and the way he obviously either genetically or takes care of his body, because I do believe he probably works out pretty hard. But you're eating a burger and fries. You're eating bread and mayonnaise and sugary ketchup and bread, by the way, and fries. I don't care if you have a thin slice of something you perceive to be healthy in there. I don't I don't think that's what's gonna be the good part. If it is, which I don't think it is. So that was interesting. Jesus, another tangent. Can't keep my you gotta leave off the booze. No, I'm kidding. Anybody seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Leonardo DiCaprio's like yelling at himself in the trailer about like you had to have 6 margaritas, you had to have fucking 8 margaritas, and I was just thinking like how much of that chatter, that outward chatter to himself is like real Leonardo DiCaprio, you know? Always interesting. Think about shit like that. But let me see if I can regain. Yeah, so grocery store. So my wife tells me the grocery store doesn't have any meat or toilet paper. They have this fucking Impossible meat, which is fully stocked. No one wants it. It's hilarious. I love that. I think that is very funny. I wish I had a video of it. And then like, we're not doing this whole hoarding supplies thing. Like we just want a pack of toilet paper because it's time to get toilet paper. What the fuck, dude? Like Walmart, Giant, which is a grocery store here in Virginia, Whole Foods, they're all sold out of just like normal shit. And it's like, hey, I don't want 20 fucking rolls of this stuff. I just need some toilet paper. And we got baby wipes and dude wipes and stuff like that. So we're not out and we're not going to struggle. And if it comes down to it, you steal that shit from work. Nah, I'm kidding. You can't steal toilet paper from work because they use such terrible toilet paper. You don't want to use it at all. No. Man, toilet paper hasn't been invented for that long, surprisingly enough. You can do a Mexican bidet. Do a Mexican bidet. You flush the toilet, and then after the water's clean, it's drinking water. You take that and you splash your butthole and wash your asshole. If you got a sink right next to you, you probably have soap too, and you can use that soap to clean the shit slit, so to speak. And yeah, Mexican. I want to use the right word. Mexican duvet. Is that something that that's a duvet? Duvet. Oh man, this does happen to me a little bit. If I've been boozing or if you kind of takes a few days. Dude, drinking fucks you up. It is not good for you. Like really bad. And you think it's only like one day. Like, oh yeah, recover. Like that shit long term. But I drink, so. Mexican duvet cover. Mexican duvet. Dude, I don't know. Hello Tushy. This podcast is brought to you by Church. HelloTushy.com. Yeah, so I just need some like regular stuff. And so I'll be going to work on Saturday. I'm going to stop by the On Base grocery store. I wonder if they have stuff. I don't know. When's stuff coming back? Or is the reason there's no stuff on the shelves is because the workers aren't working because they're worried about getting, the truck drivers worried about getting coronavirus? I don't know. I don't have mainstream television. I don't have television. I have Netflix and Hulu and all this shit. So I don't get news, nor do I think it's all that important. You die. Fart. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What are you gonna do? Vote? It's not gonna do anything. Keep it down. I wonder what that was. You know, sometimes we live in townhomes, and sometimes we'll leave like I'll leave because my wife's too good about this to make this mistake. But I'll leave like the screen door like this much open, and the neighbor's cats will run in like look around and shit. So my wife is from the Eastern Bloc of Europe. She's from Czech Republic. And funny thing about them is this is kind of related, but this is also a Blake bomb, a Blake-ism. Funny thing is the reason the plague happened is because the Pope decided that cats are demons. They're vessel for demons, or they are demons. So people, you know, fucking start killing cats because their government, their Pope, told them that cats are evil. So they started murking all these cats. The cats are dying. Rats and mice are more widespread. They're not. They're not. They're the natural. So the predator isn't around. The cat's not around, and so these rats that have the plague, which was what happened, get bit by a flea, and then the flea bites a human and gives that human the plague. So this fucking asshole Pope, and if you're Catholic, you think I'm going to hell for that, you go fuck yourself. But this asshole Pope who put the nicks on the cats has a 15-foot flame burning around his facility for I don't know how long, but a flea can't jump 15 feet high, and so if they try and jump over the flame, they burn up. So, yeah, that's super cool, you fucking idiot Pope. Cats are demons. So, with that, a lot of Europe just don't like cats because tradition after tradition after tradition after tradition of generations not liking cats because this superstitious dude that talks to God in his weird little pedophile fucking outfit. And I'm Christian, by the way, but fuck that shit. Tells these people, has this huge influence on these people to discriminate against cats. The rats fucking get more widespread, and then the fleas from the rats, blah, blah, blah. So I relate that to my wife not liking cats. Her brother's the same way. Thinks they're these disease-ridden things that I love cats. But sometimes they sneak into our house. One time, we had our garage door open all day, and then the neighbor's cat got in there. I closed the garage. I didn't know he was in there. And then all of a sudden there's this commotion. I was like, what the hell was that? And so, you bust out the pump shotgun. You go do some investigating. Turns out there's a cat, was sleeping up on one of our shelves. Woke up and freaked himself out whenever he knocked some shit off the shelf. And we let him out, but, every once in a while I'm like, fuck, dude, did I leave a door open? Is there a cat in the house? And they get brave too, because my neighbor, not being that great of a pet owner, leaves these cats outside in like the cold sometimes, and they're like peeping in other people's homes like, yo, you want to fucking let us in? Because we're fat and hairy, but we're cold as fuck. So, anyway, I thought one of those cats got murdered by a fox. Turns out they're both around still. I was like, yo, I heard some fucking gruesome noises, and then I thought I saw some fur and stuff out in the woods. But that was probably just like, some satanic shit going on out there. No, just kidding. I haven't known any weird things to happen around here. In fact, there's a bunch of kids running around because of this coronavirus bullshit. They're all happy. It's kind of nice. Takes you back to the old days when I was a kid. My generation went outside when we were young. And then I kind of also, my generation played video games too. So, interesting. Interesting. Look at this guy, huh? I thought about doing podcasts. Oh fuck! I almost knocked down on my. I thought about doing a podcast where I just like pretend this is my guest the whole time, but I haven't done that. So the issue is I want to get two microphones going at the same time, right? That'll probably freak out. I want to get two microphones going at the same time. This is a Shure product. I messaged them, can I do this on that? Two of them. I said, no. My phone only recognizes, or phones only recognize one microphone, so there's no way at this moment to have it recognize two microphones. Now, Rode, not sure, but Rode has a splitter that works for auxiliary. So auxiliary was the thing that used to be at the bottom of iPhones, but they took out, and now you have to use a toggle converter in order to plug it into the lightning, or you have to use a Bluetooth. So they have this thing where you can use a lapel microphone. You can have two going in. They have an app, but they also would like you to use their microphone, which isn't the best quality, but they're the only people that provide this split two microphone thing. So, and then also I want to have something like this where this guy right here is close enough you don't think about. We need to get you about 2 fists away from your face. 1 fist, like Joe Rogan has to tell people. I want someone to sit in a comfy chair like this. This sewing machine right here. I thought about making my podcast called The Sewing Machine Between Us. It's a lot of words, and it's a little on the nose, but it's not a terrible name. But my plan is, once I save a little bit of money, we've been responsible recently and not spending all of our money, but actually putting money away. I want to take this little bitty lapel microphone, and Audio-Technica makes a mount for it like you would see at a well, they use it for ceiling. I think they're talking about like you have a ceiling microphone. I've seen those, especially at Buds, like you're on a stage and you start talking and it just starts getting amplified around the room. But on like a podium, you'll see someone talking into like a very small mic, and so it's basically a buildable one of those. You build your own. I'm trying to take a Shure lapel, fit it into Audio-Technica, and then run it into a Rode splitter into my phone, and hopefully use the Shure app because I like the app best. But I'm sure it would be fine. I'm sure it would be fine if I use the Rode app from here on out. So that just for the two microphones, the splitter, and the splitter, and a couple extra cords to make sure there's no like. It's like $280. Oh, fuck, man. You know, trying to do this on the cheap, trying to do this on, an iPhone. I don't want to get into where I have a interface where I have microphones going into, and then that goes into this, and I don't want to learn that. I want it to be so simple that I could travel with the shit. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm very tempted to just order a couple of the parts, test it out, and if it works, just make a note and then return it and get all my money back. Because Amazon be good like that. But I don't know. It would stress my wife out. She'd be like, what the fuck? We talked about not buying stuff. No. We got the vacation at the end of the month. So, yeah. But I get these projects in my mind. I get these what ifs in my mind. Can I build this? Like I have a guitar right there that it started with me. I'll just preface this. Thank you, Martin, for using that word so much. Fucking annoying. Preface this. What I'm saying is I have a little bit of OCD. I don't know if it's a disorder, but I have a obsessive compulsive. I'm very driven, single minded when I get a task I am interested in. Um, so it's a shame I'm not super interested in my job skill set because I would be fucking laser locked into that. I have been. I have, I studied, but me, it's the end goal. What am I looking at down the way? Is this what I want to do with the rest of my life? No. No, I don't. I don't really like cornmen all that much. Might change my mind when I get to the Marine Corps. What I'm saying is, behind me is a guitar. I found a extremely cheap guitar. I don't know where it is. Um, out for the trash. Two of them out for the trash at my neighbors down the street. Took them home. One was trash. The other one, it's like a nylon string, little kid's guitar. It's also trash. It's not worth anything more than like $10. But I have some things up here and I was just doodling on it and started like getting into it. I'm like, oh. And so then I do all this research on small guitars that are quality. I finally settled on the one I liked. I went and looked at them, settled on the one I liked, and then I did an extensive research on what kind of sunburst or starburst you want on it. And then I finally get it, and then immediately I'm just like, what can I do to this to make it slightly different? Nothing. I'm not putting 28-inch rims on the fucking car and ruining the ride, but I wanted to put a strap on it, and the straps look flimsy and were going to fall off. So I got strap clips. And then I go and talk to one dude. He said, oh, you can't do that on this guitar. And I go talk to another dude. And they do that. He just had to do a little bit more oomph. He builds whole guitars. So he did that. Then he put some new strings on. He put some, non-plastic nuts on. And it sounds good. But with all that, I got it accomplished. I lost my steam. So I need to pick it up more often and doodle with it. And then what happened was I met a guy was gonna take a lesson. Every time it came to him coming over, something was just the vibe was off in the house where I was uncomfortable with him coming over. I had a newborn. My wife's recovering. Then next time I have family here, whatever it was, the vibe was just off. And I wasn't super crazy about a stranger I met coming over to do guitar lessons for $45. So, moral is little OCD. I get this thing in my head, and sometimes it's cured real quick because I order the shit off Amazon, shows up, it's not what I thought, not what I want, send it back, and I'm just like, oh well, that's done, that's that. But this, it's like, will this mount fit into this, microphone correctly? Do I have to like tape it a little bit? Do I have to put it on the side right here? Do I need the other thing to come from here? How do I want to, do all these different things? Will the 3 different companies' parts I'm trying to use work on the app I want to use? So it's interesting, and that's what I can say about it. I get laser locked focused in. I get a little not manic. I do go to sleep. I do withstand from ordering shit. I have been manic before, but not. I don't think I'm going back into that state ever again. I think that was, lethargic acid. Not lethargic acid. LSD. Whatever you want to call it. I used to know the name of it. It'll come to me in the middle, I have 15 minutes left, so we'll see if it comes to me. But yeah, I like fiddling with shit, and I'm here on quarantine. I can't do stuff, but no one said an Amazon dude can't drop off some fucking packages. So, I like fudging with stuff. I ordered things for this so I can record with this microphone while keeping a charge on my phone so it doesn't die like it did that one time. I did it on the cheap too because I bought some off-brand stuff. I didn't buy Apple brand device. I did that I do pretty good research on stuff. I did that with my grill upstairs. I bought a very small grill. It sucked. I made Lowe's return, like, accept my return after I grilled some burgers on this grill. Talked to them about it. They're like, yeah, you can bring it in. We'll just, total it out. Write it. It's a write off of what? I don't know. We just write it off. And then I bring it in. It was a different person. And I returned everything, man. I returned the gas tanks I used for the shit too. They weren't super stoked. She wouldn't make eye contact. Moral of the story is I got my $107 back and I fucking rolled out. Now I got this one upstairs. You use these little bitty small propane tanks and they run out quickly. So I was gonna order the grill's brand Weber hose. I'm looking on the reviews on Amazon and they're like, yo, I figured that Weber would make the best thing for Weber things, but fuck that. This shit sucks. This shit breaks. Don't buy this shit. It's expensive. I bought a $9 one that does the same thing. And sure enough, I bought, I think, an $11 one. It's the exact one I want. Great reviews. Hardcore shit. And yeah, so a little OCD about that shit, I get obsessed thinking about it. But I don't know. Sometimes I put it aside, sometimes I don't. Let me just say that if you come across things, I'm not a hoarder. My house is clean. I mean, not that over there. Just I've been busy, but like everything has a spot. Everything clean, organized for the most part. But I guarantee you can pick something up and I can tell you why I own that. I have met hoarders and they do the same thing where it's this bullshit story about why, dude, it was crazy. This lady. I think this is probably my last story, maybe not. In Louisiana doing carpentry for, he's a friend now. I was doing carpentry for a guy I knew that used to work for my dad. He very involved in the church, the Christian church, not Catholic. And he has a trailer, he has a big F-250 diesel, and we're going to load up the back of his truck with this lady's stuff that is going into an assisted living home. She's older. I believe she was getting evicted from her apartment, and the person that coordinated this from the church didn't show up when they said they would, and we get there and this hoarder of a person, the house is terrible. I think she had a dog too, so then you take into fact that in the fact like this dog goes to the bathroom in the house, and she would try and stop us and tell us things about all this stuff. There was no focus on getting the job done, which was pack up the essentials and move out. She had so much junk. And eventually the person that coordinated showed up and she's all kind of in the wind a little bit, a little too high on Jesus. I'm not saying she was high. It's just sometimes I come across Christians that are kind of oblivious to what's going on or how the world's working and just like, oh, it's okay. And it's like, no, this person has an issue, has a mental disorder, and we're not qualified to do this. And you're just some person at the church doing a good thing. So the plan was we want to separate this lady from all of this stuff. We want to get the main essentials to move into assisted living and then get her down the road to that place. And we did that for the most part. I don't know what happened with the rest of her stuff. I really don't. But with that, one of the things, one of the things was, and I want to get this right, it was one of those photos where when you get close, it's small photos. But when you zoom out, it makes it makes a bigger photo. And I want to say it was photos of Abraham Lincoln. No. I want to say it was photos of naked women that when you zoom out, it was Abraham Lincoln. Or it might have been photos of Abraham. That wouldn't make sense because there's not that many photos of Abraham Lincoln. So I think it was photos of women, like naked women, that when you zoom out, it makes Abraham Lincoln. And she had this story, and she thought that was the most interesting thing. And we're like, first of all, that's kind of in bad taste for our believed one of the greatest presidents ever. And then also, like, you old lady, like, this is just weird, but you're associating it with this memory you're trying to hold on to, and it was sad. And then we got her to the home, and now doing what I thought about it when I was there, and it kind of clicked in my head, but I hadn't spent time in hospitals that much before then. But I remember being a carpenter and my dad being a home builder and looking at this lady's room. It was a fucking hospital room, man. It was a hospital room. It was a barracks room, basically. It had, instead of wooden trim going on the floor, it had a laminate tile floor like a hospital. And then if you look the next time you're in a hospital, they have rubber that goes from the floor to protect the bottom part of the wall. Two reasons. One is to protect the wall, right? Cover up that gap and protect the wall. Another one is when you're mopping up shit, when you're mopping up blood, when you're mopping up afterbirth, that it doesn't go into that crack or it doesn't seep into the paint or the drywall, and you have a sealed off way to, not worry about that water kind of bumping up against the wall. And I was like, oh man, that's what this room is, like, I don't think there's any decomposing old people in these rooms. I'm pretty sure they check on them, but like, you know, the person becomes incontinent and just shitting themselves, gets on the floor, and they have to come mop it up. So I was like, ooh, this is a little dim. And, we take some of her furniture and we put it in the room. And we set up her bed and a couple other different things. And they got a TV. I don't know if she had to bring her own TV, but we got things set up and got her chair set up. And I think she had her dog. And, oh, my dog can go here. No. And we got to make sure we get this stuff. And, oh, yeah, they're going to. I just remember being so overwhelmed by that person that I was like, oh, man. Huh. And I remember it being a very late night. I was dating a woman at the time, who had some kids, and we used to try and eat dinner, and I missed it that time. And I just remember right around that time, I told him, I'm like, hey, like, I'm here to do carpentry. And I have a great relationship with this person, but it got more to the point like, hey, I know I'm a hired hand, but I need to start learning a skill. I need to start having more normal hours than going off on this goose chase of, hey, you're a capable young man. Let's go move some furniture. That's fine. Well, 5 hours later, and I'm, bagging up sentimental toilet paper. I wish I had some toilet paper. I'm bagging up sentimental notes into a trash bag. Like, what are we doing here? This is eating up time. You're paying me, and this is crazy. So, yeah, I remember that kind of towards the end of our working relationship, because there's a few times where it's like, yo, I'm on the clock. I still got to get dropped off by my truck in the front of your house. And then, sometimes we pull up in the front of his house. We got to unload gear. We got to get ready for the next day. And it's like, yo, love the guy. Love you, Dave. But it wasn't the best organized thing. It wasn't the best thing for me. So I moved on, like everybody does. If it's not the best for you, you ain't got to make too much of a fuss. It's like, time to move on. 6 minutes left. Yeah. I got some Oakleys, but my favorite pair is my favorite pair is some $17 knockoff Oakleys that I can lose in a river and not have to worry about. And these things are... That's the other side. Those popped. Those did something weird. This is another one of those things that I was so concerned about, this part being black and that part being black, and the lenses were this color, and so I went into the shop and they switched it out. I paid a premium, and I got these glasses, and then come to find out, I like the ones I got for cheaper off of Amazon. They don't advertise. Free advertisement, bro. This had something on it. This is North Face, but had some like Spade Boy Scout North Face thing right here. As soon as I got it, rip that shit off. Give it a wash. Can't tell it's there. No more free advertisement. I don't mind wearing your brands, but something about me, I don't know when it was, but I remember very young, I had a Hollister, and I very carefully, I actually put a hole in it, but I carefully took off the Hollister letters because they're pretty easy to come off. Yeah, I don't super dig it. Sometimes it's not bad. I mean, I buy these hats because I like what they say, but they don't have this huge brand. Sometimes that's what the thing is the brand. That looks cool, but a lot of times, and like some are atrocious. I remember I quit shopping at these fucking places right after I joined the Marine Corps, got out of boot camp, and one of my buddies I met in boot camp, wound up living, 45 minutes away from me, and he messaged me like, it wasn't American Eagle, but it was like Aeropostale, or I think that's what it was. Like, yo, Aeropostale's doing like 55% off all clothes. I'm like, oh, okay. And I go in for military. And I go in and I look at, dude, I didn't buy one single thing because it's just plastered their shit. All like, dude, a pair of jeans would have like embroidered Aeropostale in the sides, and it's like, dude, I don't want to wear jeans that say your shit with embroidery on it. That is ridiculous. The clothes also were extremely cheap and garbage. Extremely cheap garbage. So I didn't buy anything, and then that kind of changed my mind into those brands that all seem to be the same, just different quality, which is American Eagle or Abercrombie and Fitch or Hollister or whatever they are. The thing is about some of those places, rarely, I don't step into them, especially like Hollister at Abercrombie. They smell like cologne 15 feet from the door. So American Eagle, every once in a while in a mall, I'll step in. You find some cool shit there that doesn't have a brand plastered all over it, like a Baja hoodie or something cool. But most of it is garbage to me. And I know there's do those places? I know Abercrombie and Hollister, but does American Eagle like still thrive? I think that Aeropostale died. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not conscious to that if those places exist anymore. I think they do. I don't know. I'm so in touch with the world. I mean, I don't know. No. Anyway, fart. That makes an hour. I'll upload this shit. Fart. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a comment below if you like what you've seen. Please think about subscribing or whatever the fuck I'm supposed to say. If you are one of the 7 subscribers and you have an idea on what the name of this show should be, maybe it's Fucktard Idiot Sits on a Couch and Talks for a while. That'd be cool. Send me a thing. Tell your friends about This idiot fucktard sitting on a couch talking, and so they can watch. Alrighty. Bad noises.